in this lesson, we'll just spend a little bit of time creating extra poses that would be a good idea to have. Our next pose is going to be for the corners of the lips to deform in as the mouth opens. And then later we'll learn how to automate that as we rotate our jaw. It'll just automatically trigger that deformation. So let's go ahead and select our tag, and we'll create a new pose. Let's rename this to mouth open. Okay, so now selecting male head, selecting the face, we'll go to point mode, and we'll go ahead and grab a few points on either side of the lips. Going to our move tool, we'll enable soft selection, and let's go ahead and increase this to about 4. And now we can just go ahead and scale this in. Great. May not need to shift this with the move tool at all, so I think just a scale would suffice. And it's as simple as that. All right, great. Well, we're now ready to work on the next target. Let's go ahead and grab our tag. And the next one we'll make is going to be for an F shape. Now, since part of that shape is a bit of a sneer, what we could do is go ahead and copy our sneer, paste, and that will save us some time. So when we go ahead and select this, let's go ahead and rename the sneer to F, and let's go ahead and increase it to 100%. And now we can go in and start to mold this shape. Now, remember, it's a good idea to have a mirror nearby so you can speed up the time it takes to create this. But what we want to do is have this lip roll in. So what I might do is actually disable the HyperNerves node. I use NB to go to lines on shaded. And now we can start to sculpt this out. It's going to our point mode. I might go back to the move tool just to disable soft selection. I'll grab a few points so we can have them roll in. And when it comes to more complicated poses, it's really just a matter of knowing how to model. A lot of times in the studio you'll have a modeler that can take care of this for you, but still it's a good idea to have some experience. It's a good idea to know how to model, that way, just in case you know how to do this on your own. So I've just rolled this in a bit, and then we could go to the points on the outside. And pull them up. And it's just a matter of going back and forth until you get the shape just right. I'll go to these few points and make sure that they roll in. Points on the outside. Go to our rotate tool and just kind of rotate them and then pull them in. Okay, great. So it's definitely getting there. I'll now go to lines mode just to grab a few points here and start to pull them in. So it's the same points that we've tweaked. We just need to tweak them a little bit more. So let's now start to bring those in a bit more. We'll go to the points right here in the center. Great. So with those selected, let's go ahead and drop them down and then pull them in. Might even add a little bit more rotation here. Just kind of drag them in until it looks as if the character is biting down on his lower lip. And that's the expression we're trying to create here. I think we're just about there. I won't spend too much time on this because then, again, it's just a matter of knowing how to model this shape out. But what we basically want to do is just make sure that the lip actually looks as if it has rolled. So we could start to go to a few points here and on the center part of the lower lip and pull those in, and then grab the points directly underneath those and pull those in and up. And then we could start to smooth out the pose. I'll go to the corners again right here on either side. You can see we have to smooth these out a bit, so let's go ahead and pull them in. I'd say afterwards we will be good to go. Just kind of bringing them in, scaling them in to smooth this out. And then we can go ahead and test the shape. All right, so going back to model mode, let's go ahead and take a look. We'll go ahead and grab the F shape and start to adjust it. And you can see that we're getting a nice lip roll. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and call that good. If you'd like, feel free to tweak that further, but I think that it's going to work out very well. All right, so how about the next shape we create will be an M shape. So we have a little bit more of a roll here for both lips. Let's go ahead and choose Add Pose. Next, we'll go back to point mode. We'll go ahead and grab a point at the upper lip right in the center. Let's go to our Rotate tool, enable Soft Selection, use Surface, and I'll go ahead and decrease this maybe to about 2 and start to roll this in. Then we could start to pull it in. Do the same for points that are on the outside of our previous selection. Just kind of roll those in a bit. Might even decrease the radius a bit more to, let's say, 1. That helps. Just kind of roll that in. Bring it back to 2. Roll it in just a little bit more. And then we could start to pull in and pull this back in the Y and Z axes. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the same for the lower lip. Selecting our points. Just 1 point for right now in the center. Might increase this to 3. And then just go in and rotate this in. And then start to translate in. And we want the lips to be tight. So let's make sure that happens. I'll go to the next point here, maybe decrease the radius to 1. Start to lift that up and pull it in. Then we can start to adjust the other points. And if it's not a point in the center, it's a good idea to select a point on either side, just so we're mirroring this. I'll go ahead and roll these in and translate in. Okay, so let's go ahead and repeat that again for these points at the very corner of the lower lip. Roll them in, start to translate, and bring them back. All right, so at this point, we can go to model mode just to take a look at our shape. I would say that it's just about there. I'd almost like to roll the lower lip in a bit more, because we shouldn't see too much of the lip texture. And that's how we know how far we've come with our pose. We just need to make sure, again, we tuck all of these in so that it looks as if the lip is actually rolled in. The last point we make, or the last pose, I should say, is actually going to be very simple to do. It's a U shape. But it's definitely necessary. Okay, let's go ahead and test this out by turning on our HyperNerbs node. Going back to the pose morph. And there we have it, a nice M shape. Great. So I'm now going to go ahead and rename this to M. And then we'll go ahead and create just one more pose. So we'll choose Add. Let's name this U. We'll stick with the HyperNerbs node on. Might help to build this faster. Selecting the male head, we'll go back to our point mode, and let's go ahead and finish up. So we'll grab points on either side of the mouth. Let's go back to our scale tool, and let's set the radius here to 4, so we can bring in these points. And now we can go ahead and translate them forward. Let's disable surface, just so we can get more control over the entire mouth. Scale these in. Then we'll start to close in our selection and scale in a bit more. Great. I'll go to the upper lip. I'll go back to surface. Let's go ahead and decrease our radius to about 2, just to pull this out so it actually looks as if it's a U shape. So we can go ahead and curl it in a bit. I might even decrease this radius some more to about 1, so we can roll that upper lip. Bring it up in the Y and Z axes. I'll go ahead and set the radius to about 2 for the lower lip, and just roll that out a little bit more. I'll go to the point underneath, bring the radius to 1, and bring that out. And now it's just a matter of making this shape a bit more circular for a convincing U shape. So I won't spend too much more time on this, because we should get the idea by now. I'll go to the very corners here, just to fix this shape some more and kind of pull these points out. Okay, great. It might even help to increase the radius a bit more. And then we can scale them in to finish up. All right. If we wanted to take this any further, we might close in the lips a bit more. So I might do that in between lessons, but you get the idea. We're just trying to mold a nice U shape. All right, so by the end of this, when we go back to our pose morph, let's go back to the tag and test this out. Here we have it. Beautiful stuff. I actually don't think there's much to do to this at all. Maybe smoothing out a few spots, but I'd say that this is looking great. All right, so we have managed to finish up our targets. In the next lesson, we're going to go ahead and take care of our beard deformations, and then following that, we'll start to control these targets. We'll go ahead and automate the mouth open shape that we've made, and then we'll start to create animation controls for the other shapes, and we can do that in the form of user data.